What does it feel like when tens of thousands of killer bees fly toward you, especially if you're allergic to bee venom? A large truck carrying beehives was involved in a collision and overturned. Immediately, the beehives on the truck broke open and tens of millions of bees scattered in panic. The driver, surrounded by bees, tried to call for help but only scared the mother and daughter inside the vehicle, who screamed in terror. Soon, the driver collapsed and his life was uncertain. The mother and daughter were trapped inside the truck, swarmed by countless bees. Even more terrifyingly, these were not gentle honeybees collecting nectar. They were highly aggressive killer bees. The mother immediately called emergency services because they tried to drive away, but the bees had blocked the exhaust pipe, preventing the engine from starting. Unfortunately, both the mother and daughter were allergic to bee stings, and there was only one adrenaline injector in the vehicle. When the firefighters arrived, they were shocked by the rare swarm. The hot weather that day made the killer bees even more aggressive. The driver on the ground had already stopped breathing, and another person with the truck was unconscious. The rescue team was using carbon dioxide sprays to clear the bees off the truck, but quickly ran out. The bees then blocked the water pump's intake, making it impossible to operate. The captain requested a foam truck from headquarters, but due to traffic it would take 20 minutes to arrive. Suddenly, a bee flew into the vehicle. The dispatcher instructed the woman to close the vents, but it was too late. 3 bees had already gotten inside. The dispatcher told them to remain still like statues. However, the vicious bees crawled onto the girl's cheek and nearly got into her eyes. Terrified, the little girl slapped herself, successfully leaving a sting inside her skin. Her allergic reaction started immediately. She began having difficulty breathing. The mother decisively injected adrenaline into her daughter's leg, and the girl finally stabilized. But just then another bee stung the mother. She instinctively swatted it away, but the adrenaline was already used up.
Maddie, how soon can we get help?
The dispatcher urgently contacted the rescue team to extract the mother and daughter quickly. Meanwhile, a nearby vehicle exploded.
Damn it! Get CO2 on that till we get the water flowing! Move! Move!
The other driver on the truck had been stung so severely his face was swollen like a pig's snout, and a bee even flew out of his mouth. When rescuers shone flashlights inside, a horrifying sight appeared. His throat was completely blocked by countless bees. The rescuers had to use a suction device to clear his airway, vacuuming the bees out like a vacuum cleaner. Fortunately, the driver regained consciousness.
Why do I taste honey?
The rescue team worked hard to control the situation, but there was no improvement. The foam truck was still 8 minutes away. At this critical moment, Barry discovered that smoke could repel the bees. He immediately used a positive pressure ventilator to blow smoke into the truck, but by then, the woman inside was nearly unconscious. Fortunately, the dispatcher found through research that there was still some medication left inside the injector. The woman was guided to cut open the casing, revealing a small injector inside. However, the woman lost consciousness after exerting herself. Encouraged and guided by the dispatcher, the girl bravely injected her mother successfully. The woman finally woke up. Outside, the rescue team used smoke to drive away the bees. This method worked, and the bees around the vehicle gradually decreased. The team seized the chance to rescue the mother and daughter. Just when it seemed the ordeal was over, a larger explosion occurred. Over 15 million killer bees took off into the air, forming a super swarm like a tornado, flying east over the city. At an altitude of 10,000 meters, an old man piloted a small plane he had bought with money from selling his company on its maiden flight. While communicating with the control tower, a cloud of over 15 million fleeing bees appeared ahead. Before he could react, the small plane plunged into the swarm. As the bees swarmed through the ventilation system, the old man's plane was quickly overtaken. He couldn't focus on flying. When he recovered, a passenger jet was flying straight at him. Meanwhile, experts tracked the swarm by radar, but before sunset, the radar signal suddenly disappeared. This didn't mean the danger was over, because killer bees don't act at night. As the temperature dropped, they were probably just resting. The chosen resting place was the exhibition venue, where a new perfume launch would take place the next day. It seems even killer bees have taste. The boss and assistant eagerly awaited the event, unaware of the danger. Unbeknownst to them, the tent was already covered in dense swarms of bees.